Ladies and gentlemen of this restless nation, a shadow looms over the American justice system this week, a milestone approached not with celebration but with somber reckoning. For on Tuesday, July 15, Florida is set to carry out the execution of Michael Bernard Bell, a man whose life, crimes, and punishment have become another tally in a rising national total. The act itself is precise and clinical. A needle, a bed, a chamber. But what surrounds it, what fuels it, what results from it, is anything but simple. For Bell's execution will not stand alone. It will be the 26th of this year in the United States. That number may seem cold, but within it are decades of trials, appeals, trauma, grief, and debate. With this act, we surpass the entirety of last year's executions, 25 in total, and we step toward a peak not reached since 2015. That year, 28 people were put to death. And if the calendar unfolds as scheduled, that number, too, may fall. This is not simply about one man. This is about a resurgence, a rekindling of a practice many believed was on the decline. A return to the chamber, to the switch, to the cycle of retribution that has defined so much of American criminal justice for generations. Michael Bernard Bell's story begins in 1993, in Jacksonville, Florida. A city like any other, stitched together by its communities, bars, neighborhoods, and memories. It was outside one such bar, on December 9 of that year, that Bell committed a crime so devastating, so sudden, that its echoes are still heard more than 3 decades later. Armed with an AK-47, Bell opened fire. When the smoke cleared, 23-year-old Jimmy West and 18-year-old Tameka Smith lay dead. 2 young lives extinguished in an instant. 2 families left to navigate the vast darkness of grief. For years, justice crawled forward. Trials were held. Sentences handed down. Bell was condemned to die by lethal injection. The appeals came and went. The years passed. But the wounds remained. Now, in 2025, justice in its most severe form is at hand. But what does that justice mean in a nation where the death penalty is both practiced and protested? Where states move in opposite directions, some abolishing it altogether, others quickening the pace. Robert Dunham, director of the Death Penalty Policy Project, put it plainly, we're in the midst of something historic. Yes, historic. Not because it's unprecedented, but because it signals a shift, perhaps a turning point, in America's long and complex relationship with the ultimate punishment. It is a moment that forces us to confront uncomfortable questions. What is justice? Is it retribution, closure, deterrence, or is it something more elusive, something we aspire to, but rarely grasp in full? When Michael Bernard Bell is strapped to that gurney, will the families of Jimmy West and Tameka Smith feel peace? Or will they feel a brief silence, followed by the same unanswered questions? What of Bell himself, a man who, in 1993, made choices that destroyed lives? Who now, after over 30 years in a concrete cell, faces the final consequence imposed by the state? Does execution serve as an ending? Or does it deepen the cycle of violence that led us here in the first place? And what of the larger picture? The United States stands increasingly alone among Western democracies in its use of the death penalty. We speak of human rights, of due process, of the dignity of life. And yet, here we are, approaching record numbers, carrying out executions at a pace not seen in a decade. 9 more executions are scheduled before the year ends. 9 more chambers will be prepared. 9 more names will be etched into the long, sobering list of those the state has killed. This is not a statistic. This is a national decision. One that we are making over and over again. State by state, case by case, life by life. For some, the execution of Bell is justice long overdue. They will say he showed no mercy that night in 1993. That the horror he inflicted demands an equal response. That the families deserve to see the law upheld in its fullest measure. But for others, this moment is a grim reminder of a system fraught with inequality, with racial and economic bias, with the risk, always the risk, of executing the wrong person. A reminder that no system designed by fallible humans can wield perfect judgment. And so, we find ourselves caught in the middle. Between vengeance and mercy. Between finality and possibility. Between the law and the moral weight it carries. Michael Bernard Bell is not a symbol. He is a man. But the machinery that surrounds him, the machinery of the state, the courts, the policies, is symbolic of something greater. Of our values. Of our fears. of what we believe punishment should look like, and perhaps most importantly, of what we believe redemption can still be. Do we believe a man can change in 30 years? Do we care? Do we believe that taking a life, any life, brings us closer to justice? Or simply closer to acceptance of violence is the answer? This execution will not make front pages across the world. It may not lead every news broadcast. But it should spark a conversation. In our homes, our schools, our legislatures, and our hearts. Because this isn't just about Florida. This is about the United States in 2025. A country at a crossroads, deciding, execution by execution, what kind of justice system it wants to be. And in the end, the question remains. Does justice die with the condemned? Or does it lie in how we choose to treat even those who have committed the gravest of sins? Michael Bernard Bell's life will end on July 15. But the conversation his death demands must not.